As I understand it, about 12,000 applicants received preliminary clearance into the REM program. Of these, about 7,000 are now on a waiting list, while about 5,000 have been told they are in line to receive funding pending further reviews. Of the 5,000, only about 2,700 have been told they can start construction. The rest, almost 10,000 people, have been told they cannot start construction without losing their eligibility for reimbursement. Now, the storm hit in October of 2012. The REM program started accepting applications in May of 2013, closed in August, and now it's March of 2014. And almost 10,000 people have been told not to start rebuilding their homes, or else they will lose eligibility for reimbursement. And to me, that's simply unacceptable. Now, there's been a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding, and finger-pointing over the causes of this delay, so I hope you'll be able to help us set the record straight here. State officials have recently been saying that the main cause of the delay is what they call burdensome red tape of federally required environmental and historical preservation reviews. It's my understanding, though, that HUD and the state's Department of Environmental Protection have worked hard to streamline and expedite these reviews to the point where they take on average about 2 to 4 weeks. The longest I've been told is that they take at most 6 to 8 weeks. So question number one, is that your understanding as well as to how long these reviews are taking to complete on average?
You're exactly right, Senator. In fact, our most recent information is that the typical review is now down to about 2 weeks, and that the most complex ones are now down to about 6 weeks.
Okay, so 2 weeks on the typical and 6 weeks on the max. Now, this accounts for only a few weeks out of the many months that people have been waiting since the REM program was supposed to start processing applications. Is it correct that once a homeowner gets these environmental and historical preservation reviews completed, they can start or continue to rebuild their home without jeopardizing their eligibility for federal reimbursement?
You're correct, Senator, and I would add that you raised this concern with us early on. We have never before allowed that sort of reimbursement to happen, but because of your advocacy, we did make that available in this case after Sandy.
So if the state is requiring homeowners to submit other documentation, such as a, quote, substantial damage letter, that may be taking a long time to obtain, or is taking a long time to process their applications to decide how much funding they'll receive, the homeowner can start rebuilding while all of this is going on, as long as they've completed the environmental and historical preservation reviews, which take, as you say, normally 2 weeks and maximum 6 weeks. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct.
No, so right now I understand the state is not even starting environmental reviews for people until it has, my time isn't up yet. It's one of the benefits of being the chairman. I understand the state is not even starting environmental reviews for people until it has completed and signed off on all other documentation, a process that for many people has been taking months. I'm told that some parts of this process, such as determining the scope of work, may be necessary for some environmental reviews, but these steps don't seem to be the biggest sources of delay. Wouldn't it be a better idea to have the environmental and historic preservation reviews happen as early as possible in the process so that people can start rebuilding rather than making them complete the most time-consuming steps first when these steps aren't even necessary for environmental reviews?
That is certainly an option that is available. There is no restriction at the federal level from them doing that. The only risk from that perspective is that you might end up paying for an environmental for a family that is later determined to be ineligible, excuse me.
All right, so let's go to that. So in other words, it's not the environmental or historical preservation requirements that are slowing things down, because if it was just those, people's wait time would be 2 to 6 weeks, not 7 to 10 months and counting. The bigger problem seems to be making people complete other time-consuming steps first. So in this regard, my office has been in contact with state officials about this issue. And the state has told us that they're afraid to go ahead with environmental and historical preservation reviews until they've completed all other steps including making a final determination that a homeowner is both eligible for funding and that the state has funding available for the homeowner. They said they're afraid that if they pay for environmental and historical preservation reviews for homeowners that ultimately do not receive funding for other reasons, they are afraid that HUD might penalize them or make them repay the money. Are the state's concerns legitimate? Would you penalize the state for front-loading the environmental and historical reviews for preliminarily approved applicants so they could start rebuilding again?
There is no restriction on making that choice by the state. That is a program design issue. The risk for them is that they may end up performing environmental reviews for families that are determined later to be ineligible. We would allow them to cover those costs, but instead of being taken out of the project delivery costs, they would be required to pay them out of the program administration costs, which are capped at 5% of the total award. So
Well,
that is the risk to them.
And even those 5% are federal dollars, are they not?
That's correct.